can you believe it? In about a month, this vehicle was supposed to go to Cape York. Maybe we've chopped off a little bit too much.
We're on the home stretch for the OG Dirty 30 build. If you haven't guessed by now, this vehicle means the world to me. I basically started my career with this truck, and I put so many kilometres on it, so many hard kilometres, that it was destined to be parked up and retired. I'm so stoked that the vehicle's going to be restored and brought back to life. So far, we've taken the original cab from my old 60 Series LandCruiser, cleaned it up and put it on a chassis of another 60 Series. And by the end of the last ep, we were able to get it all running.
We've only got literally a matter of weeks before this thing is on the road, but one thing is for certain, I will be going to Cape York and I will be driving this vehicle. So I bled the brakes by myself. I didn't have any help. Yeah, how do I sit? Brakes need bleeding a bit more, but she drives. So first step, let's get this on a trailer, get it over to my mate Jeff's place and get it in for paint. Now, I've got to introduce you to a mate of mine. This is Jeff, and Jeff is it's actually Jeff's fault, the reason why we're building this vehicle. The story goes, you saw this sitting behind Jackson's shed, yep, right? Wasting away. It had been sitting there for a few years at this stage and had been off the road for about 5 to 8 years by this stage. We were going to cut it in half, chuck it up on the walls, a bit of shed art, and you had something to say about that.
Yeah, well, I said to Jackson, I said, what are you doing with that thing? He said, oh, that's Shauno's. Oh, yeah. He said, yeah, he wants me to cut it in half and make a bit of wall out of it. I said, you are got to be kidding. I said, that's iconic, you know, like even I know about that. And he said, well, can you fix it? And I just said, well, yeah, I've been doing this for 60 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And he rang me and I told him and he brought it around here and here we are.
Jeff's been working on the 30 in the background for a while now. He's been doing all the panel work and getting this thing tidied up again. He's a panel beater by trade for the last 50 or so. And if you could see the before and after of Jeff's work, well, you know he's an absolute master of his trade.
So what you've got to understand about Jeff, he was, you know, going up to the Cape in late 80s. Yep. You were chopping 60 Series when they were brand new off the production line in
virtually
half. Yeah, basically. We should probably explain to everybody your 55 Series.
That's my 55. I bought that in 1986. I was a white pig. Had a very thirsty petrol in it. Went to the Cape in it when it was white with a 302 in it. Came back, decided to really get it going. So we put a V8 in a 5.8 Cleveland, and I restored it to that.
I love it. Yeah, well, I love the fact that you are so passionate about bringing cars back to life, and it makes me happy, mate, just to know my car's down here and in the right hands. You got to imagine though, you were doing trips in this rig before a lot of people watching this are probably born. Yeah. So it's pretty cool to see. Yeah.
Well, first cab off the rank for this job today, I'm just going to block it all down, and then after that I'll re-guide coat it again and fine sand it with an 800.
I brought all this gear and
you picked the right stuff, mate. You can't get a much better product than a Spezeka product. You just can't. Yeah. And I've been using it for a long, long time. The other product that I use a lot of is all these fillers, and they make an absolute premium filler, and then all your fine panel work gets finished off with this this dolphin glaze, which as far as I'm concerned is just the greatest thing invented.
Do you think you'll need much bog in it?
No, it's not bog here, it's restoration paste.
Right.
It's not bog. I don't use bog, never used it.
Yeah, right.
But I've used quite a bit of restoration paste.
Restoration paste. All right, there's a few last little bits and pieces.
Yeah, really that's the long and the short of the whole process. It's just after that it goes to the booth. You know, all the glory's done in the spray booth, even though that I've spent probably 300 hours on the damn thing. And it'll be finished and looking $1 million.
Yeah, and did I do a decent job of gapping all those panels for you,
actually,
mate?
Atrocious. Like, he's not a panel beater's armpit.
No.
He is not.
No.
And I'm not a movie star. He is.
You said it well, mate. I'm certainly not a panel beater.
Yeah.
And as I started putting the panels back together, I couldn't get anything to line up properly. And that's why I just dropped it over here. I thought, you know, Jeff can sort this out. And you've done a great job, mate. Like I said, it's even looking $1 million now.
I can't wait to see it covered in mud. You know, and you're scratching trees. It's just going to make my heart feel really good. Not. Credit to you to have the guts to go ahead with it, mate.
Like I said, mate, you're a bad influence. That's the only reason.
I intend to be around for a while.
While Jeff finishes up, I've got some painting to do myself on a bull bar that I've found, and I'm going to give it a new lease on life.
Now, this one was actually at my mate's over at Mr. LandCruiser. My mate Jackson picked it up, long story short, sitting behind his shed for some time, and I went over the Dirty 30, picked it up, and I just wanted to check what state it's in. Keep in mind, this bar has done a lot of miles around the country, and it's not looking, well, it's looking pretty second-hand, but you can expect that. It's got some rust on it, but the plan is to resurrect this bar, bring it back to life once again. So I'm going to sand it down, give it a little hit with Raptor, and fingers crossed, it's going to be looking all brand new again. Now, the easy thing would be to go and buy a new bar, then you just bolt it on, it's all brand new, look fantastic. But where's the fun in that? I mean, this has obviously cost me nothing, but also the fact that just with a coat of Raptor, you can bring this thing back like it's looking new. Let's sand it back and get it ready for paint. Well, I think this is going to work. Actually using the hoist to lift the bar up just through these like UHF mounts. I've been able to secure it just so I can give the good, like the whole thing a spray without having to turn it, so I can get a really nice job. This is the easy bit now. You've done all the prep and got it looking pretty good. I reckon this bar is going to look pretty darn good. I'm going to hit it with some wax and grease remover, give it a bit of a blow down, get all the dust off it. Then I'll hit it with some Brunox, some sort of rust converter. Then a little bit of etch primer, because I've got some bare metal on here. Now the primer is on, it's time to Raptor coat it. Now there's two ways you can go about doing this. You can do it via a spray gun, which is a more cost-effective way, and certainly the way to go if you've got a lot of bar work to do, maybe you're doing a tray or something big like a trailer or a whole vehicle. This is definitely the way to go. If you've got small jobs, you can get away with using the Raptor spray cans as well. Well, if I don't say so myself, this bar is looking absolutely mint. I mean, compared to what it was looking like before, it was almost destined for the scrap heap. Fair bit of preparation and a few tins of that Raptor coating. This has come up an absolute treat. It almost looks brand new. Now, of course it's not. If you look closely, there's going to be a few little dints and bits of character, shall we call it, all across this bar. I'm very stoked how that's turned out. Now, back at the paint shop, where the actual professionals are working, they're actually putting a coat on the actual Dirty 30, so the body's all getting done right as we speak. Well, this is pretty exciting. Down at Gold Coast Spray Painting. Now, the boys have been kind enough to get me in at very short notice. They do a fantastic job down here, and I just can't wait to see the Dirty 30 in one solid colour. It's going to look so good. I just know it. Hi Steve, how are you, mate?
Good, buddy.
Good to see you. You've been busy.
Yes, mate. Big day, but we're nearly there.
What's it looking like? Let's have a look. Have a little peek. Look at this, it's gorgeous. Can I come in?
Yeah, mate.
Yep.
I'll give you the gun for the last coat.
No, trust me, I've just sprayed a bull bar and it's good from about 100 metres away. This is actually really nice. You know, I love this colour. This is Toyota Champagne, I think, is the colour. If I'm not mistaken, I think Toyota Champagne. Anyway, it's the original colour this vehicle was when it came out of the showroom, 1988. It was Sahara VX, and that's the colour it was. It's almost like a silvery gold sort of colour. So good to see it like that. The last time I saw it when it was this nice was when we first cut it into a ute and it got resprayed. This is actually starting to become very real right now. No, Don't touch it.
And you're not going to scratch this or anything?
Yeah, and the plan is obviously I'll keep it as fresh looking as this. I'm not going to scratch it or drive too hard off road in this one. I might grab your mobile number just in case though. Well, the Dirty 30 is back from paint and it's looking $1 million. The plan is we've got it at home for roughly, it's probably about 12 hours before it's got to go to Dale's fabrication shop. And so the boys are around, bit of a working bee. We're going to try and get an interior in this thing, get all the front together. It's going to look like an actual 60 series ute by the end of the day, and then it goes into fabrication. So we've got our work cut out today, there's no doubt about it. Well, as you can probably imagine, all the second-hand parts I'm getting, some of them are in good nick, some not so much. These lenses have seen way better days. There's just rust all through them. So I've got new lenses, but I'm recycling a lot of old parts. Front end is complete, so it's looking pretty good. Obviously I need a bull bar on it, but I really like that look. Imagine like a big chrome bumper on there. But this is going to be no more call. This one's going straight to Cape York on its first run. We'll get into getting this interior done.
What's going on here, Jeff?
Oh, just a little bit of fine tuning, mate. With the part tool number 93, and we'll just give it a bit of a tweak with that, because these doors weren't on this truck.
Sounds better than a GQ already, mate. Yeah, it's all the fiddly bits. I've got to say, this takes a lot more time than you can imagine. Lucky, I've got some experts here to give us a hand. What I'm going to do now is get a bit of interior in. I'm going to put a bit of sound deadening in. That's all you really sort of need. And we've got a couple of other layers to put on. We've got some acoustic sound deadening, as well as an insulation layer. That with a vinyl floor on top, I mean, it's going to sound like a new car. There we go, we've got a driver's seat in, but more importantly, we have an interior. We've got all the vinyl plus all the car builder stuff, so the interior is going to be quite nice and actually quite sound deadening here. I'm not going to go overboard though, because as you can see, there's a stack of work that I need to do. The seats will need to come out again. I'm just leaving the drivers in so we can drive it around for now, and it's getting late. I'm going to pack up pretty soon, because he's going back on a trailer, and first light tomorrow, it's going over to Dale's place and he's going to do a number on the fabrication side of things. And you're probably thinking, what do we need to do fabrication wise? You just wait. The next step for the Dirty 30 is to go in and get some fabrication work done. I didn't allude to exactly what we're doing. Now keep in mind, this is the big thing, we're going to Cape York in about a month. Now the plan is very simple and straightforward. We're going to cut the chassis and extend it probably 350 or something like that, and just get a longer wheelbase and much better load carrying capacity. Now that's a pretty extreme fabrication, I understand, but it's sort of, as I was building this one thing I always wanted to do to the original one was extend the wheelbase, because when I built it, and I built it all wrong I guess way back in the day, and keep in mind that's 15 plus years ago, but I put a big heavy steel tray, all the weight, I had two big spare tyres at the back, and this is the way that the 60 series chassis runs. It's actually got quite a big rear overhang and actually quite a short wheelbase.
Short wheelbase on them, yeah, absolutely.
And so it never carried the weight properly, as you can imagine, and especially the way I loaded it all. I had all the weight behind that rear axle. So the plan is to move that out, carry a lot of the weight forward. It should be a bit of a dream to drive, I reckon.
It will be a lot more comfortable driving, absolutely.
Yeah.
Moving that back brings the centre of gravity or centre of mass forward a bit more. And yeah, it'll be a lot smoother for the ride and everything.
I used to pick up some of the biggest wheel lifts you've ever seen in your life in this thing. It used to scare the absolute heck out of me. And your background, right? You've been working with four-wheel drives for forever, just about.
20 odd years.
Yep.
Maybe 30 years, yeah.
Doing some pretty wild. Some pretty wild builds in your time, from like winch trucks, race trucks, all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah. And so this should be a walk in the park for you.
Yeah, done plenty of chassis extensions. Haven't done a 60, but yeah.
What do you reckon? Get some grinders out?
We'll chop straight in.
So I think the plan for Dale is going to chop this chassis about here, so just in front of that rear leaf spring, and move the whole back section back, and obviously put a new fabricated piece in between. Now what you need to worry about, of course, when you do that, the tail shaft's going to be a different length for the new one. Brake lines need to be modified, as well as all your fuel lines as well. So there's a little bit to it. That's why I would never attempt something like this. Leave it to the experts is what I reckon. And Dale's done a bunch of this, so he knows what he's doing. The other benefit about extending the chassis on this vehicle is when Dale puts it all together, fabricates a new piece, he's also going to put a stack of bracing in here as well. So obviously this was a wagon, it's turned into a ute, and the chassis is just basically a stock wagon chassis. So it's not really designed to be a ute and carry all that extra weight that you can carry with a ute. So I'm really looking forward to all that bracing is going to give me so much more strength to the chassis, and it'll work even better as a ute. There's nothing other than metal connecting this end to this end now. Something tells me like shouldn't be starting something like this about 3-4 weeks before we're going to Cape York, but no turning back. No, that's what we like to see. We commit, we go strong. We chopped it in half. Look at that, that's so weird you can walk in between a few rocks. Oh, what the history of those, I wonder where they've come from.
I'll give that a good blowout too.
Yep.
That'll get rid of any sand or salt and everything out of there.
Yep.
Mud.
The whole plan of this build was don't go wild, was the first thing. Don't go wild. Where have I taken it? 2D Extreme Fabrication, and we've chopped the chassis in half. This is my life. We don't do anything. I was about to say we don't do anything by halves, but sometimes we do. We cut this one in half, that's for sure. Well, can you believe it? In about a month, this vehicle was supposed to go to Cape York. I can't believe it. Maybe we've chopped off a little bit too much, but we'll have to see, because one thing is for certain, I will be going to Cape York and I will be driving this vehicle. It's going to be a fair bit of work to get it ready, get the mods on it, even do a bit of a shakedown test. We've only got literally a matter of weeks before this thing is on the road and heading north.